friends. In the last few sessions, we tried to understand how the economy operates. And we have clearly come to the conclusion that economic policies are formulated to benefit the class that controls the state power. And we also tried to understand the character of the Indian state. And we came to the conclusion that Indian state is a capitalist state. And here too, the policies that are designed, that are implemented, are to benefit the capitalist class. We have also seen that what was the historical position when India gained independence. The way the economy was being developed through the state intervention in the United States and Europe. And we have said that the then important capitalists, they wanted the Indian state to intervene to industrialize the country by developing the necessary infrastructure. The reason was that they did not have the resources to build the infrastructure. So they wanted the public sector then. And today they say that you have to privatize the entire public sector undertakings in this country, for the simple reason that they feel that the public sector has already served its purpose, and by creating the necessary infrastructure and the Indian state policy following certain policies have allowed the accumulation of capital in the hands of these capitalists. And today they feel that they have the capital to invest, and therefore public sector must be privatized, and the space that is occupied by the public sector in the economy must be vacated for the occupation of the private sector. And that is the reason why there is a demand for the privatization of the public sector. Now, when we look at it, we need to understand what is the situation globally. And you would be surprised to know that even today, state-owned enterprises, which is public sector, still dominate the global economy. According to the reports, there are 28 state-owned enterprises which are very large, which are very big, to influence the policies of the entire globe. Yeah, it is understandable that a large number of those state-owned organizations, enterprises, come from China. But it is also a fact that the state-owned enterprises, which are big and influential, also operate in Europe and OECD countries. And in that kind of a situation, if the government of India has decided to do away with the entire public sector, it is not for any economic reasons that would bring about certain benefits to the common people. It is simply for the ideological reasons that the present state, controlled by the big capital and represented by the BJP and the Narendra Modi, do not want the public sector, and they want the entire economy to be opened up for the private sector and follow the laissez-faire policies which proved to be disastrous in the entire globe in the past. Now, when you have decided to kill the public sector, initially it was argued during the Vajpayee regime that we will privatize or we will sell, they seek public sector undertakings. And we will allow the public sector which is earning profit and give them the state support to become big to compete with the multinational corporations. But from 2004 onwards, as the economic policies came about, and more so after the present government took power in 2014, it has been decided to decimate the entire public sector. And what is the argument? The basic argument that is being advanced today is that the public sector is a drain on the national resources and the national economy, and the public sector is making huge losses. Now, this has to be countered, and we don't have to give the arguments invented by us, but we will go by the report, the latest report of the CAG itself. According to the CAG report, there are 668 state-owned enterprises in our country. And the CAG studied the financial and the working of about 443 of these state-owned enterprises. And the CAG came to the conclusion that these state-owned enterprises are making immense contribution to the national economy. When the government says that the state-owned enterprises, the public sector is making losses, the CAG report says for the year 2018-19, which is the last report that is available, the profit that these 443 companies gave to the government of India was to the tune of 1,70,000 crores of rupees. And the CAG also says that around 5.14 lakh is the total equity investment made by the government into these companies. And apart from that, there are long-term loans that these companies have taken, which is to the extent of about 16.41 lakh crore rupees. But the total assets of these 443 public sector units exceeds 52 lakh crores of rupees. Then how do you say that these companies are not worth it? These companies are not doing well? This is absolutely a wrong message that is being spread by the government to kill the public sector in our country. Now, some of these public sector units are also listed on the stock market, and around 54 of them are actively being traded in the stock market. And in these 54 public sector enterprises, the government has invested around 85,000 crores of rupees as equity investment. And you would be surprised to know that the market capitalization, the value of these companies, 54 companies in the stock market, exceeds 14 lakh crores of rupees. And if you look at the entire 443 public sector enterprises, the rate of return that they have given on the capital employed is around 12% to the government of India. Then how do you say that the public sector is not doing well? It is agreed that some public sector units are not doing well, but it is because of the excessive bureaucratization and the intervention of the government in the functioning of the public sector units. So what needs to be done rather than privatizing these units is to give the functional autonomy to these units to meet the challenges of the market. Now, we say that the working class has to defend public sector despite knowing the fact that the public sector also helps the development of capitalism in this country. But why should we support the public sector? There are 4 or 5 broad reasons. Number one, to protect the national sovereignty and economic freedom, it is necessary that we need to protect the public sector. Why I say so is that when India became independent, there was a lot of pressure from imperial countries to intervene in the Indian politics and the Indian economy. But when India decided to build up the public sector, a self-reliant economy, the public sector stood as a bulwark against the imperial machinations or manipulations. And it gave the economic freedom to the nation. 2 or 3 examples of this. HMT was created because machine tools are the mother of all industries. Hindustan machine tools for manufacturing, the machine tools for the entire country. And over the years we have seen that HMT is totally destroyed. And what is the result of the destruction of HMT? Today 80% of the machine tools are imported in our country. We are not self-sufficient in it. The second example which I would give it to you is that when COVID struck our country, even medicines as Crocin, Dolo 650, they were not available in the market. Why they were not available in the market? Because for the basic ingredients, Indian pharmaceutical companies still depend on China, and only when China started exporting it, the Indian manufacturers, pharmaceutical industry could start manufacturing those drugs. And why this situation came about? Because the government destroyed Hindustan Antibiotics Limited. The government destroyed IDPL. And it was because of the destruction of these industries that today we are dependent on the basic ingredients for our drugs on China. So the basic thing is that if you don't have a strong public sector, it impacts your economic freedom. Secondly, when India gained independence, we also had a social contract for ourselves, and that social contract is the Constitution itself. And in the Constitution, under directive principles of the state policy, clearly it is said that how the Indian economy must operate, how the natural resources of this country should be utilized for the benefit of the entire community. And when we look at it, under the Constitution, the public sector had a very important role to play. But by destroying the public sector, privatizing all the public sector units, you are violating the social contract that Indian people had and the Constitution itself. And that is one of the most important reasons why we must defend public sector units. Secondly, as the Constitution said, and our own experience says, that if you give total freedom to the market, there will be excessive concentration of wealth. And that we are seeing it. Between 1947 and 1980s, you saw what was the concentration of wealth in the hands of the Indian capitalists, and when India opened up its economy from 1980 onwards, and more so after it adopted a neoliberal agenda in 1991, we have seen that this concentration of wealth has increased beyond imagination. And this is a violation of the constitutional principle, which says that it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that concentration of wealth does not take place. If concentration of wealth takes place, automatically the inequalities increase. And that is the reason that why inequalities have increased in India. So we say that if you had to fight against the concentration of wealth, the public sector must continue to occupy a space in the Indian economy, because when the public sector generates profit, those profits are utilized for the welfare of the people. When the private sector generates profit, it benefits only that capitalist, and he would expand his empire, as we have seen in the recent past, Gautam Adani or Mukesh Ambani. So it does not benefit the common people. And the third reason is that it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that the deprived sections, the lower sections of the society who have been historically discriminated, they are uplifted economically and socially. And that only the public sector can do through the reservation in the jobs. And fourthly, we also seen that India is a huge country, a diverse country, where development is uneven, and if the public sector does not interfere, there will be huge regional imbalances in the country, and the public sector works to reduce certain imbalances in the Indian economy. And that is the reason why we need to defend the public sector. And the public sector also has to play a very important role in creating the job. In say around 1990, you had around 21 lakh public sector workers, and by 2019 the number of public sector workers have come down to around 10 lakhs. So there is an impact on the jobs, and all this is impacting the life of the common people in our country, because public sector also helped the deprived section through certain public services, education, health, which is the responsibility of the state. But now in our country we see that everything is being privatized, including the health, education, industries, everything, and that creates a situation where huge inequalities would come, and it will have a very big impact on the life and living conditions of the ordinary people. And that is why the trade union movement has decided to fight against the policy of privatization. And the central trade unions, independent federations, including the AIA, we have decided on a 2-day strike in the budget session. And I am sure that strike, when it comes about, will be hugely successful, and it will leave a great impact on the movement of the working people in this country. So next week, we will specifically study why they want to privatize LIC, why they want to privatize the general insurance industry, and why we need to defend this public sector insurance industry in the interest of the national economy, economic sovereignty, and political independence. We will meet next week again. Thank you.